So the pasuk says, "En sur ke'elokenu." There's no rock like our God. There's no rock like our God. What does that mean? That there's no rock like our God. And the Gemara tells us in Berachot 10a, "En sur ke'elokenu." There's no rock like our God. Don't read it "En sur ke'elokenu." Read it instead "En sayar ke'elokenu." There's no producer. There's no artist like our God. The word sur is a rock, but the word sur is also the word sayar. The word sar means to form something. So the word sur also means to create something. Sayar is an artist. So when we say "En sur ke'elokenu," what does that mean? It means that there's no artist like our God. Now I want to ask you, what does that mean to you? That there's no artist like our God. What does that mean to you?
He created the world. It's intricate. And every artist makes a picture. And a good artist is more detailed. This world is the most detailed that no one else can create.
There you go. This you said is perfect. Hazak Baruch. In other words, what does it mean? "En sayar ke'elokenu." There's no artist like our God. It means to say that, you see, the way it works is that when you see a picture, you don't know who made this picture unless you see who the artist signed his name at the bottom of the picture. Right? Now that you have a signature on the bottom, you know this is the artist who created it. That's how all artists are. They have a very specific way of writing something, making such a picture, and then you know that it was done by this artist because they have the name signed at the bottom. But when it comes to God, it's not like that. When it comes to God, God doesn't have to put his name at the bottom of his script in order for you to know that it's God. Just the fact that the way that the world is run in a way that it's impossible that it could be any other way except for God creating it, that itself is God's signature. "En sayar ke'elokenu," that's what it means. It means to say that there's no Amen. It means to say that there's no producer like God, in the sense that every single thing in the world that you see, it all has to be that it was created by God, because there's no other way that it could have been created. So you don't have to have an artist's signature in order for you to know that it was made by God. That's what it means. "En sur ke'elokenu," there's no rock like our God. "En sayar ke'elokenu," there's no artist like Hashem. Now, we can take it a step further. You know, what does it mean to say there's no artist like Hashem? It means to say an artist cannot put a soul into a picture. Now, in artificial intelligence, I'm able to take an image and tell the program to make it into video. And they'll do that for me. I say, make it into a video, and takes an image. You tell it, these two people standing together, I want them to fight, make them fight. Make them hug, make them run away from each other. Whatever you tell it will do. You take pictures, and the computer is going to turn it into an image, into a video. But the way the world is that all this artist can do is he can make a picture, he can make a robot, but they'll never be able to make something that's going to be something that's going to be. I already put on it. No, don't put more. And there's no artist like our God, in the sense that even if you have an artist that's able to make a picture of a person, but that person will never be a real life person. And only Hashem can put inside a picture, put inside of a person. Put a neshama inside of a body. Like we say in the Baracha V'Sheyatzar, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Uvecho V'Sar, U'Mafli La'asot. He cures all flesh, and he's wondrous in how he does. What does he wondrous how he does? He takes something that's physical, like a body, and he puts it into something spiritual. So the spiritual is living inside the physical. mechanical. And that's what it means to say that Hashem, there's no designer like Hashem or God. But there's another level to say about there's no designer like Hashem. What does it mean to be a producer, to be a person who creates content? It means
It's not for display.
the best producers don't have anything. The best producers, the best artists, the best authors, they know how to give something that looks like it's not alive, make it alive. How do they do that? How do they do that? One of the tricks of producing movies and videos in the writing movie school, where they teach you how to do this, is something very interesting. If you see on top of the fireplace in the Act 1 and Scene 1, you see a rifle on top of the fireplace. If that rifle doesn't shoot off by the end of the set, it shouldn't be there in the video. It should be in the movie. That means to say that every single part of the movie is there, but someplace later on in the movie, it's going to come into play. If Harry Potter starts with his book that there's a little cat in the sun, and it just happens to be a cat that's following him. No. That cat is a very important cat.
Foreshadowing.
See that?
Yeah, everything makes sense.
The way of writing plots is the way of taking a something that looks like it has no purpose in the story, and then later having a person. Why do the ones who are writing the scripts of the movies? Why is it important for them that this is the way to make the script, to make the story come to life? Why is it like that? Why is it like that? You know why it's like that? The Mishnah tells us. The Mishnah tells us. Don't be disgraceful to any person. Don't push away anything. You know why? There's no such thing as a person that doesn't have his time. Every person has time in the light. So what Hashem is doing since He created the world, He's flipping ladders. The ones who are at the bottom, they go to the top. The ones at the top go to the bottom. 15 years around it takes. Always be at the bottom, because that's where the people Hashem takes to the top. So the Mishnah tells in Avot in chapter 4, Mishnah 3, it says, there's no such thing as a person that doesn't have his time in the spotlight. There's no such thing as a thing that doesn't have a place. I remember I got a phone call from the person who sold me his car. He said he sold me his Prius 2008. He says, listen to me, don't wait a day. Take your car now to Rishon. In Rishon, I have a guy for you. He's going to take out the bottom, the muffler of your car, the whole thing that's we call takes out the bag, the muffler, the whole thing that goes through the bottom of the car. He's going to take you out the original Toyota and give you a new one. And he's going to give you 2,000 shekels. Go today. I said, why go today? He says, because in Yerushalayim there were people that were going into, there's a certain metal that's very important for these lithium batteries that was needed for people who are working with all types of electric batteries. So there was a very high price for this type of metal. And they ran out of this type of metal. Where was this metal found? In certain cars, certain models that had this metal in the muffler the whole way through the back from the whole. So he told me, go right now to Rishon LeZion, switch it, he'll give you a good one. Because instead what's going to happen, if you're not going to do that, when you're in the sub parking lot somewhere, they're going to jack up your car, they're going to take it out, and they're going to seal it. See that? Is that crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy. So something that I thought didn't have so much value, you don't know when it's going to have value. It's a matter who thought it was going to have value. There was a story of the Rambam. I'll tell you a story of the Rambam. The Rambam, when he was a little kid, when the Rambam was a little kid, the Rambam, he got an interesting story happened to him. He came back from school. He was a troublemaker. He didn't do so good in school. His father told him, his father's a big rabbi, Maimon, Rabbi Maimon. Rabbi Maimon tells the Rambam, listen, I don't want you to be in my house. My house is only a house of Talmidei Chachamim.
His father said that?
Get out of my house. Get out of my house, he tells him. The Rambam, as a little kid, he leaves his father's house and he goes, where does he go to, the Rambam? To the Megash, the city of Megash in Spain. And when he gets to Spain, he meets the Rimegash. The Rimegash needs to Torah for many years. And then he tells him that you have a tremendous potential of being a Gadol Hador. Tells the Rambam, I want you to go back to your city and take this letter to the Gabbai of the Shul. He writes a letter, he gives it to the Rambam to bring home. He gives it to the Rambam to bring to his Gabbai of the Shul, the head of the Shul. He said, this is the letter from the Gadol Hador, the Rimegash. Let this man speak in the Shul. So this Rambam, he gets up in front of the Shul and he gives a beautiful class, beautiful derashah. So much so that the father, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, he tells her, Moshe ben Maimon, I want you to come to my house for a meal. He invites him and says, you know something? I like you so much, I want you to marry my daughter. He doesn't realize, he doesn't know it's his own son. And all of a sudden, the Moshe ben Maimon starts to cry. Why are you crying? He says, I can't marry your daughter. He says, you're crazy. Why can't you marry your daughter? My daughter, I'm the Gadol, the rabbi of the city. I have money, I'll buy you a house. I'll give you a job. You have a future in the rabbinate. He says, no, I can't marry her. It's a suit from the Torah for me to marry your daughter. He says, what are you talking about? It's from the Torah to marry my daughter. Because the Torah says that a brother can't marry a sister. So he starts, can't believe it. Now the father starts to cry. Is what I did. I said, if I get away from the house, I kicked my own son out of my own house. And look, in comes the Moshe ben Maimon.
Wow, I never heard this story.
What does that mean to you? That means to say, there's no such thing as a person that doesn't have his time. Every person has his time where he's going to be successful, and you don't know who's going to be successful, who's not going to be successful. The guy comes to live Haron, and we don't know what's going to be with this guy. It looks like a troublemaker, and who knows, this guy ends up being a leader in the community. Who thought this guy's going to be like that? You're going to decide. You know that the Panovich Rav said that the special place in Gehinam for those rabbis who throw kids out of yeshiva. Very, very special place in Kafakela. These rabbis that they're going to be throwing boys out of yeshiva. Because you don't know when this guy's going to be out. You don't know when the guy's going to turn around. Maybe it's, I don't want it to burn. Maybe it's now, why did I tell you all this? Is to tell you that in Sayar Ke'elokenu, when saying the Ketoret, in Sur Ke'elokenu, there's no rock like our God. What does it mean to say? It means to say in Sayar Ke'elokenu, there's no producer like our God. And what do producers do in the movies? They make sure that if there's a pistol on top of the fireplace in scene 1, if that pistol doesn't go off in scene 10, then that means that pistol shouldn't be in the movie. You know why? Because the way of the world, the way Hashem makes is that everything has a place. Everything's going to be successful one day. If it's not, Hashem will create it. And the producers want to make things feel like real life. So how do they do that? They bring into the movies, they bring things that will make you feel like something that's so real. And that's why everything has to come into a time and place. Now that we have this introduction, this whole introduction to the Devar Torah today, there's something in the story of Moshe Rabbeinu Rabbeinu taking the Jews out of Egypt, that seems that it's very, very superfluous. It seems that it's not so important. You know what that is? The Mateh. Moshe Rabbeinu's staff. Moshe Rabbeinu needs a staff. He doesn't need a staff. When Moshe Rabbeinu went to see Hashem says, Moshe Rabbeinu says he takes his staff and he puts it aside. It says that Harem that he should pick it up according to some opinions, but many opinions will not go and says he didn't hit the water of the Yam Suf with the staff. Instead he put it on the floor. And Harem is Lashon Tzilma, which means to separate it, to put it aside, to give it, which means that he doesn't need the staff to do the tricks. The tricks is not anywhere to convince the people to go out of Egypt. When they came to Serach Bat Asher and they told Serach, there's a guy that came to take us out of Egypt. He has 3 magic tricks. What are his magic tricks? He takes water from the Nile, pours it on the floor, turns to blood. Okay. He has another magic trick. He puts tan into his cloak, he puts it and it turns white. Okay. He takes his staff and he throws it on the floor, turns into a snake. So what? That doesn't mean that this is the one who's going to take us out of Egypt. But then they said, no. Pakod Yivkod. He said the secret password. Wow. He said the word Pakod Yivkod Hashem, and Hashem says Pakod Bakati. Now we know, that's the guy that said what Yosef HaSadik said. That those are the words. This is the guy. You don't need the staff to bring them out of Egypt. Because the secret word was Pakod Yivkod. So unbelievable. Last time you joined my class, you heard the story of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, his whole life, he never was home. From the time he was a little baby, all the way till the time he comes back to say the words Pakod Yivkod, he was never home. How does that make sense that he was never home? Because we said that from age 27, he ran away from Pharaoh's palace to the land of Cush. He was in Cush for 40 years. And then after the 40 years, at the age of 67, he went to Yitro, to Midian. Yitro, his father-in-law, put him away in a cellar for 10 years. So it means to say that he's 77, he marries Zipporah, he has to murder the 2 kids, and at the age 80, he's standing for the Paro. Which means to say to you, never home. Now, why did Moshe Rabbeinu have such a crazy life? Why could it have to be brought up in the palace until the time he comes back from Midian, never home? That comes. Do you know why? Because if he was home, people would have said, "Oh, he knows Pakod Yivkod from his house. His father's Amram." And we know from the story of Miriam that she told her father Amram that you're worse than Paro because you said that you want that the people should get divorced from their wives, and therefore they're not going to have not boys and not girls. And Mitzrayim, Paro, he only said against the boys. So you're worse than Paro, he says. So he goes and remarries his wife. And we see from there the whole nation did that. So he's a Gadol Hador. Now if he's Gadol Hador, and Moshe Rabbeinu put up in his house, well, you don't think that Gadol Hador knows the secret password of Pakod Yivkod? The fact that he wasn't home his whole life, and he still knows the secret password, that's a sign that he was Mashiach. So everything had to be this way in order for all to play out. And this is what it means to say over here also. Moshe Rabbeinu's staff is a very interesting story. Moshe Rabbeinu's staff. Moshe Rabbeinu's staff. We're going to continue tomorrow talking about more Moshe Rabbeinu's staff. But this is just the beginning of asking the question: why was Moshe Rabbeinu's staff so important? And it was important because we see the Moshe Rabbeinu's staff. It was the same staff that he went and he held up his hands when he fought against Amalek. It's the same staff in the story of Korah. It's the same staff in the story of hitting the rock. Something's very important in the story in the staff of Moshe Rabbeinu. What is he there for? What he needs a walking stick? What? Why is the staff so important? And we're going to talk about the staff more tomorrow because it's already late. Amen.